already, which is very exciting. So let's get going. My name is Irina. I'm an assistant director of admissions at Hunter College. I'm very excited to see so many of you are interested in one of our study abroad programs or Chinese flagship program. I'm so excited to see that you're actually interested in sort of exploring life outside of Hunter and outside of New York City or wherever you are from too. So big congratulations on your fall 2021 acceptance to Hunter College. Today's Hawk Talk is going to talk all about the study abroad programs and Chinese flagship program at Hunter. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Giovanna. If you have any questions about anything that you're hearing today, there's a little Q&A button on the bottom of your screen. Put your questions in there. We will ask them live at the end of the session. So once again, welcome, Giovanna. They're all yours.
Thank you, Irina. Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to, start from the beginning. Welcome to the Office of Education Abroad at Hunter College. So study abroad has been and continues to be a great part of the Hunter College experience. Although the pandemic threw us all for an abrupt end, we are hoping to relaunch all of our study abroad opportunities very soon in the fall semester, depending on certain locations. And then by winter and spring of 2022, we will be moving along to offer study abroad in all of the countries that students desire to go. So the Office of Education Abroad at Hunter, we support all students in their international education endeavors, whether that means engaging in a sort of traditional study abroad, but we also work with students and encourage them to participate in internships and community service works and experiential learning activities as well. So don't just think of study abroad sort of in the traditional sense of just going abroad for a semester and taking classes, but there's really a lot more opportunity that you can do once you go abroad. So some of an overview of the programs that Hunter offers. We offer semester-long programs, which run both in the fall and the spring of the academic year. And you can do that through a number of programs, namely Hunter Semester Exchange Programs, which are university exchanges that we have with universities abroad. So currently we have exchange programs with countries like Japan, Australia, France, Spain, England, and the Netherlands, or those countries continue to grow. So what that essentially means is that you pay Hunter tuition to participate in a university program overseas. And then a student from that university in exchange takes your place at Hunter. But in addition to that, keep in mind, you can also study abroad through a number of other different avenues and a number of different programs as well. Hunter also sponsors short-term study abroad programs. So if you're thinking a semester might be too long for you to take a break from your academic study at Hunter, we offer summer programs and winter programs. Some of these are faculty-led. So we have well-renowned faculty at Hunter that take students abroad with them on specific programs that they run that are tied to their research. So for example, our anthropology department has a program in Uganda where the professor takes students into the rainforest to study gorilla behavior. We have a program in the winter where students can go abroad with one of our Italian faculty and study Renaissance literature in Florence. All of these are academic bearing opportunities. Keep in mind, you can earn from 3 to 6 credits towards your degree during those short-term programs. And we also have institutional agreements with other partners. For example, any other CUNY that is offering study abroad, for example, Brooklyn or Queens College, the College of Staten Island, all have very strong study abroad programs as well. You're welcome to participate in those programs. You simply e-permit and that credit will transfer back to you. We also work very closely with SUNY, the State University of New York, which has study abroad programs throughout the world, and other affiliated program providers such as USAC, CIE. There's quite a number of them out there. So just know that you are not limited only to Hunter programs. Study abroad is affordable. I think for a long time, study abroad was something that was really only delegated to, a certain number of students at very private elite colleges, and it was, you know, a way for them to take an extended spring break abroad. It's not like that anymore. You know, study abroad has become much more affordable, much more accessible, and there's a lot more that you can do other than just studying languages. So keep in mind, even if you're interested in going to a country and you don't necessarily speak the language, that doesn't mean you can't study there. A lot of universities now are offering English language courses. So it is possible for you to study, for example, engineering in Germany and taking it in English. Or, you know, if you're interested in taking, you know, a course in health sciences, you can do that in a country where you don't necessarily speak the native language. There's lots of, like I mentioned, scholarship grants and fellowships that are available to students. Hunter-based study abroad programs, keep in mind your federal aid, your state aid, and any other scholarships that you are receiving at Hunter will apply as they normally do. If you decide to participate in an external program, you will have to fill out something that's called a Consortium Agreement. And basically what that means is any federal aid will transfer to the program as long as you can prove that the program, the credits that you are receiving are credits that are going toward your degree. So we want all students to pay attention to what their majors are, what their minors are, and what general electives that they have. Because based on that, you'll be able to find a program so that those credits you're taking abroad will go towards your degree. We don't want any students extending their graduation time by going abroad. So we meet with you, we meet with your academic advisors, and we make sure that all of the classes that you're taking are pre-approved before you even go abroad. So you won't run into a problem where you're coming back and you have credits that are transferring, but they're not going towards your degree. State aid applies to programs and schools that are based in New York State. So keep in mind, I mentioned SUNY, State University of New York programs will be covered if you're receiving, for example, the Excelsior Scholarship or the TAP Scholarship. And here are just some photos, as I mentioned, of students participating in different study abroad experiences. There's the faculty-led experience. Those are two students in the jungles in Uganda. Another faculty-led experience in the summer is studying dolphin behavior in the Bahamas. Then we had a student who did community service study abroad, and he was at a refugee camp in the island of Crete for the summer. So he did a lot of research and work towards his degree there. And then a student of ours from who went to Seoul, South Korea. And this was her first time even outside of New York City. So this was really a big change for her. But you'll see that, you know, studying abroad is really a unique experience and one that I think makes a difference, not just for you career-wise, or if you're thinking about going to graduate school or improving a language, but also personally. It's a great way for you to build up your self-esteem, your confidence, and your intercultural competence. And you'll find that it's one of the most rewarding parts of your undergraduate experience. So I hope that you really think about it, consider it. You can reach out to us on our website, sign up for any of the info sessions. We also run info sessions during the semester that you're welcome to sign up for and learn more about it, and reach out to us, you know, for any questions. One of our great study abroad opportunities is the Chinese Flagship, which I will pass on to them, and they'll talk to you about this specific program, and there's a component of study abroad within that. So it was great to meet all of you, and good luck.
Thank you, Giovanna. Okay, so now I'm going to share my screen. 大家好, hello everyone. My name is Bingying Hu. I will be talking about the Chinese Flagship program. So what exactly is Chinese Flagship? It's a federal-funded intensive language program that aims to help American undergrad students to reach professional level proficiency in a language that's considered to be critical. So for example, Chinese, Arabic, Russian. There are a total of 13 Chinese flagship programs in US. So Hunter has one of the Chinese flagship programs. Okay, so here are some faces of our current flagship students. As you can see, students all come from very different background. Some students who study Chinese in high school, and we also have students who start as an absolute beginner with us. So all these students are interested in achieving this professional level proficiency in Chinese, and they're also interested in studying abroad and also do an internship abroad. So by becoming a Chinese flagship student, you are entitled to receive up to $20,000 to support you to study abroad, either in mainland China or Taiwan. Of course, we also welcome non-flagship students to take language courses, Chinese language classes at Hunter, but for flagship students, we have flagship track classes. So the student-teacher ratio is about 10:1, 15:1 versus regular track Chinese class, it could be 30:1. Flagship students follow this very rigorous curriculum. So by the time you complete this program, you will be able to use Chinese to work. And by the time you finish this program, you will have internship experience, either in mainland China or Taiwan. So how does it work? So here is a flagship pathway. So I know like we have incoming freshmen here or potential freshmen and transfer students. So we welcome both incoming freshmen and transfer students to apply. So when do you need to apply? You need to apply as soon as you've decided to attend Hunter in the fall. So there is this online application form. If you just go to Hunter website, search for Chinese Flagship Program, then it'll lead you to our program webpage. And then there is a link to our online application. It's very simple, straightforward application. And once you're accepted into the program, you will start with us this upcoming summer. So we invite all incoming students to attend our summer program. And this is a 7-week summer program, starts toward the end of June, goes on for 7 weeks. So it'll be about 3 instructional hours per day, Monday through Friday. And okay, so it's non-credit bearing. So what does that mean? You don't earn credits by completing the summer program, but at the same time, you don't have to register or pay tuition. So the goal is to have you have a head start. So by the time you start in the fall, you will start learning 102 materials instead of 101. And then after that, you would learn Chinese for 2 years at Hunter. And once you complete 2 years, you'll be eligible to receive flagship scholarship to do a summer abroad. So by the time you come back, you will take another academic year of courses at Hunter. And then for your final year, you will do a capstone year, either in mainland China or Taiwan. So what does that mean? By that time, your Chinese will be proficient enough that you can take a course with local Chinese students, either in mainland China or Taiwan, and then you also do a internship. So 1 semester of academic courses at a local university, and then 1 semester of internship. So, so who's eligible to apply? So first thing, you have to be a Hunter College student, and you're not required to have background in Chinese. But if you studied Chinese before, that's even better. But if not, we still welcome students who are starting from 0. And this is an intensive program. It's definitely not easy. So we're looking for students who have a long-term plan or genuine interest in learning Chinese language and culture, and really have a vision to utilize the language in their professional field. So we encourage all students, either incoming freshmen or transfer students, to apply as early as possible. Next, I'm going to ask our current flagship student, excellent student, Audrey Moore, to share her experience as a flagship student at Hunter College. So Audrey.
Thank you so much. So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Audrey Moore, and I'm a senior at Hunter College, and I'm currently in my final semester of the Chinese Flagship Program. So as it was previously mentioned, I'm doing my capstone semester. And today I'm here to talk a little bit about my experiences as a Hunter student, as well as Chinese flagship and the benefits of basically double majoring with Chinese flagship. But before I get into all that, I just want to let everyone know that, I was a transfer student myself before arriving to Hunter. So I transferred from Queensborough Community College. And so I completely understand how stressful the process is of choosing a new college to attend. For transfer students, of course, we've already begun our college experience, so we know exactly what we're looking for, and we don't really want to settle for anything less. And for the new students, deciding on a college that you're going to spend the next 4 years in is also a very big thing to decide. So I'm basically here to make that decision a little less stressful by talking about some of the things that Hunter can offer, and one of those, of course, being the Chinese Flagship Program. So when joining the flagship program, you're required to take a major in Chinese, and you'll also be having another major that you choose. Now, double majoring, of course, seems like a very stressful and daunting task. And yes, it is more work, but there are also a lot of benefits to double majoring at Hunter with the Chinese flagship program. So firstly, Hunter has their core requirements, and these core requirements include something called Hunter Focus, which requires all students to take 4 courses of a non-English language if you're not already proficient in one. But if you're double majoring in a foreign language at Hunter, then these credits will be able to satisfy Hunter's core requirements and at the same time be going towards a language major of your choice. So essentially, you would be knocking 2 birds with 1 stone, having these 12 credits go to your Hunter Focus and also a language major. So essentially what that means is you're not going to have any, what I like to call loose credits. So all of your time and all of your energy is going to go towards something that's going to be beneficial to you. And so regardless of what your major is, being proficient in a second language is going to be beneficial because we all know the job market today is very competitive, and with so many people with the same major as you, getting the same education, having the same experience, having this second language can really help you stand out amongst your peers and definitely open doors for you to make international connections, have job opportunities abroad, and it will let your employers know that you're well-rounded and you're taking advantage of our globalized world, basically. And with Chinese flagship, this process is completely streamlined for you, as was shown previously. From top to bottom, all the resources are given to you to become this sort of international professional, regardless of what your second major is. And we all know Chinese is spoken by over 1 billion people worldwide, and it's highly sought after in the US as well. So even if working abroad isn't something that you want to do, there are many American companies, even government jobs, that would be willing to hire you based on your language proficiency. Now, the last thing that I would like to touch on is, of course, study abroad. Now, a lot of things college students say after they graduate is that they regret not having a study abroad experience. And, everyone dreams about being able to go to a foreign country, experience new culture, new people, and of course, most important, the new food. But with the Chinese flagship program, these study abroad opportunities are already picked out for you. The funding is there. You have opportunities to study, as previously mentioned, in mainland China and Taiwan. And I was lucky enough to be able to study in Taipei and Beijing over 2 summers. And I've made some of the best memories of my college career overseas. And all of these opportunities are laid out for you. All you have to do is take advantage of them. So with the Chinese flagship program, you'd be able to have these study abroad experiences. You'll be able to have those language credits that you'll be able to use. And by having this language proficiency and another major as well, you'll be able to stand out amongst your peers when looking for job opportunities. And so here are just a few pictures that I took during my study abroad. Over here on the top left-hand corner is, of course, delicious food from Beijing. And then on the other side, there was a karaoke that we had with some other flagship students from different states, as well as some locals. And the bottom 2 pictures are just some beautiful scenery pictures that I got from Taipei. So thank you so much.
Bing, any parting words, or is that it?
That's it. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks, Audrey.
Audrey, thank you so much for providing your perspective. We do have a few other students with us who are going to give you a little bit of information about their study abroad experiences to hear what they did and how they did it and when they did it. So I would like to ask all my students to come back on camera. And I'm going to start with Nicole, if you want to do your introduction first.
Sure, Irina. So hi to everyone. My name is Nicole. And as you guys can see, I'm a Spanish major student, but I'm also a Japanese minor student. And that's what I did my study abroad in. I actually went to Japan in the summer of 2019 with Hunter College. It was just a very short study abroad experience, just 2 weeks. And I got 2 credits for my Japanese minor. I went to Nagoya. As I said, it's 2 weeks. We had a couple classes, but also mostly we had a bunch of days where we were traveling around. And it was a small group of like 10 people, 3 or 4 of which were Hunter students, and a couple other students from other universities throughout the US, and also some Hong Kong students. So I just met a bunch of people from like different places, and even from my own college. It was a great experience meeting them. And then we also met a bunch of other Japanese students. So it was a good opportunity for me to practice my Japanese and for them to practice their English as well. So overall, a great win-win experience. And also, as Audrey mentioned, the food is just a great, like one of the best parts as well, the food overseas. So as mentioned, mine was a short travel. It was 2 weeks, but there are other options. I know people have studied abroad for a whole semester, a whole year, and I would also like to be able to do that at some point, because 2 weeks goes by way too fast. I enjoyed every single day, but it does go by quite fast. And also, lastly, people often ask about the price. So a good thing to know is that Hunter has a bunch of financial aid options, and they helped me with, and also the program had financial aid as well. So overall, I didn't have to pay much because I got a little help from Hunter and a little help from the program itself. So it was very affordable and a lot of fun and very great learning experience overall.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nicole. Next, I'm going to introduce Angela, who did also a shorter term, right? Angela, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the program you did?
Yes. Hi, guys. My name is Angela. I'm actually a comp sci major and a psych minor. The program I did was the Bahamas trip, study abroad. It was really, really fun. I loved it. So I'm actually, because I'm a psych minor, the class I took counted as a psych credit. So I think it was 2 or 3 credits. It was 2 weeks. And it was really fun. Like, I actually had never been away from, like, I've never left the country before. So the Bahamas was my first international trip. And I got to meet, so it was like 2 colleges. It was Hunter College and I believe New York College. I don't remember the exact name. It was like a private school. And I got to meet people from Hunter that I never would have met otherwise. They were a lot of psych majors, a lot of people who wanted to be vets, but they were some of like the sweetest people I'd ever met in my life. And it was fun. Like during the trip, you know, we got to know each other really well. And every day we went out on the boat and we got to see the dolphins live. So it was like a really surreal experience for me. I really loved it. You know, we got to learn about their habits, what they eat, what they do. We got to learn about a bunch of sea creatures in the Bahamas, and every day was super fun, you know, like just like meeting people, I would say was the best part, and also learning about the dolphins. And I was surprised I got tapped financially. So that also helped pay for the credits on the trip as well. But it was a really overall beautiful experience that I loved. I was lucky enough to go in summer 2019.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Angela. And last, but definitely not least, I have Jenna with us, who hasn't studied abroad yet, but she's part of the Chinese Flagship Program. So she's on the track to be abroad. It's sort of the same track as Audrey did, right? Sooner or later. But Jenna, tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your experience in the program so far.
Okay, so hi, my name is Jenna and I'm currently a sophomore double majoring in English literature and Mandarin Chinese. So what motivated me to join Flagship was the study abroad opportunity, which I'm really looking forward to. I've been a part of Chinese Flagship for about a year now, and I'm currently taking intermediate Chinese. So prior to entering the program, I took 2 semesters of beginner Chinese in the normal Chinese classes at Hunter. So I also already knew how to speak Mandarin Chinese because my parents are Chinese immigrants, but I didn't know how to read or write in Chinese. And in the short year that I've been with Flagship, my Chinese has improved like tremendously. The program really does prepare you to be as proficient as possible. And it's crazy how I went from like writing simple sentences like, I like cats, to writing 400 character essays about, for example, whether we should give beggars money, which is a topic that we talked about in class today. And we learn a wide breadth of different topics, such as Chinese history and topics that are relevant to us today. For example, vocabulary in regards to the pandemic. And the wonderful thing about this program is that I'm not just learning formal like cookie cutter language, but also colloquial phrases as well. And I'm also learning a lot of idioms and proverbs and just any kinds of vocabulary phrases that will be very helpful to me when I do go for the study abroad opportunity. And as a result of being a part of Flagship and learning Chinese, when I'm watching a Chinese drama, I'm more aware of new vocabulary and various phrases, idioms, and proverbs, which has greatly improved both my viewing and learning experience.
Awesome, Jenna, that was perfect. So now we've heard from all the students, from all the staff members that we have with us. If I can ask Giovanna and Bing to come back on camera, we do have some questions that came in from students. So the first question, and I think the one that we get the most frequently about study abroad is, how many study abroad opportunities or times can I go abroad with Hunter in their 4 years at Hunter?
Well, it depends. We've had cases where students have done first a semester program and then followed it up with either a summer or a winter program. It really depends on what your major is and how many credits you can take outside of Hunter. So that's a discussion you need to have with your academic advisor. You know, a lot of majors want their credits to be taken at Hunter, and rightfully so. So, it really depends, but there are cases where students have been able to do multiple study abroad experiences.
Awesome, thank you. Bing, a question that came in for you that I think is interesting too is students are asking, will any of my high school records, my SATs or GPA matter when applying to the Chinese Flagship program?
Oh, that's a great question. So I want to answer the first question first. So the Flagship program, if you're a Flagship student, then you have to study abroad twice. So one is during the summer, usually happens after you finish 2 years with us, so end of your sophomore year. And then the second time is we call the last year for you in the Flagship program. So that's different for every student. If you came in with some background, then that might happen during your junior year or senior year or even 5th year. So 2 times. And yes, if you've taken Chinese in high school, you've taken SAT, then please provide all those information, and that will help us to place you into the right level of language class.
Thank you. And a follow-up for you as well is, can a student who is transferring in, like Audrey did, come in as a transfer as a sophomore or as a junior and start a program without prior knowledge of Chinese?
Yes, like for Audrey's case, she studied in another institution, but if you came in without no background, then you might need to spend 4 years with us. So if you're willing to spend another 4 years at Hunter College, then we definitely welcome you to apply as well.
Awesome, thank you so much. Audrey, somebody's asking you directly, was it terrifying to go to a country where you didn't speak the language? I feel like you spoke a little bit, right? Given the Chinese Flagship.
Yeah, so actually, when I studied abroad in Taipei in 2019, it was my first time leaving the country. So that part was scary within itself. But by that point, I had done, I think, about 2 semesters of Chinese study. And because the Flagship program is so intense, my proficiency was good enough for them to determine that I could take that summer abroad. So it wasn't necessarily that scary because I could communicate, but of course there was a lot of, anxiety there because it was really the first time I was talking to locals using that language. But even so, I do believe that the program, the study abroad program really did help raise my confidence in doing so because, with a language, it's like you use it or you lose it, right? So you have to get out there and, you have some great people with you, all your teachers, all of your classmates, they're just supporting you. So if you're scared in the beginning, it's normal, it's okay. But once you get there, it's going to be a great experience.
Awesome, thank you so much. Next question, I think, Nicole, if I can have you answer that one. Somebody's asking, how's the living situation when you're studying abroad? How do you figure out where you stay? Who helps you with that?
Well, in my specific program, we had I guess it's the director advisor of the program. So he was always around, like he would come visit in classes, we'd see him, we had his number. So it was great. His name was Jurai, which is like July. So he was always there if we had any questions or any issues. So I believe all programs have someone like that you can always like rely on, because they're not going to just like send you and you're on your own. And in our case, we were staying at hotels since it was just 2 weeks. So some people had like double rooms. I had a single, and everyone in the program was in the same hotel, so we could like visit our rooms if we wanted to. And then I believe if it's a longer time, people sometimes can stay at dorms. Within Japan, there's usually homestay experience. You can stay with Japanese families, which is something I'd be interested in too at some point, hopefully. So it really depends on what you're looking for or how long you're staying, anywhere you're going.
Thanks, Nicole. Giovanna, can you add to that? What are some of the typical like housing type of situations for students who are studying abroad?
You touched on all of them. In fact, I think I might recruit you to work for my office, Nicole.
She's mine. It's too late.
She did very well. So as she mentioned, it depends on the program. So if you're doing a short-term program like Nicole did for 2 weeks, then most likely you'll be in a hotel accommodation. Semester students typically can go in a dorm, a university dorm, or you also have the option of homestays. If you want to really develop your language fluency, that's one of the best ways to do it. And you know, all of the programs have secure housing that has been vetted. All of the programs that we work with have on-site staff that are available 24 hours a day. So if there's ever an emergency situation, you do have on-site staff to assist you if you need to see a doctor, if you need you know, any type of assistance. So please don't let that be a deterrent. You'll just find it on a much smaller scale, but it's still there for you.
Thank you, Giovanna. Bing, do you want to add, how does the whole housing thing work for Chinese flagship students?
So for the summer program, they actually attend for example, Princeton program or a Taipei University program located in Taiwan. So for the Princeton program, you actually have to stay in a student dorm. And for the ICLP the Taipei program, they also have a designated dorm for students to stay. So for the academic year, that's also a little different for the overseas program in mainland China and the overseas program in Taiwan. For the program in Taiwan, they actually will have students housed in their local university dormitory. And for the program in mainland China, currently it's not available, but before it was available, they want to cultivate students to be independent. So students actually have to look for their own housing.
Gotcha, thank you. Another question that I think is pretty interesting is students who may not be sure about what to study yet, right? They're still on the undecided track. How and when do you recommend for them to either join your programs or do a study abroad type of experience? Bing, you want to take that first?
Sure. So I want to quickly clarify that. So I understand some students might be interested in nursing, for example, and that's a Bachelor of Science degree. And according to Hunter policy, you are not able to declare a second major. And that's fine with us. You can study nursing and then complete the flagship requirements without declaring it as a major. But just by fulfilling all the requirements, you will earn enough credits to actually declare Chinese as a major. So that's why we encourage students to do that. So if you haven't determined your interest, I think that's very normal. Like Jana, I think she didn't determine her major until this semester, right? Jana, is that the case? Jana, 我是不是把你的名字说错了？
Jana, 没事。
Yeah. So how did you? Yeah.
So for me, I also came into Hunter undecided, and I also came into the program kind of undecided. But I was on the fence with declaring English literature as my major. And I think it was after I started taking some English courses that I like fully decided like, oh, this might be something for me. So it might really just take some time for you to take some more classes to figure out what might be some of your strengths or some areas that you want to pursue further study in. And I think the good thing about Hunter is that you're kind of required to take like a bunch of different classes from a bunch of different areas of study or different course subjects. So it should give you like a good enough breadth to decide which major is right for you.
Awesome. Good answer. That's actually the whole point of having these hawk talks, right? And the whole point of giving you students in the room an introduction to so many different programs is that if you're really not sure, your first year, try out all these different things and figure out what sticks, right? What speaks to you. And that's how you figure out what it is that you want to do. Giovanna, do you have any advice for students who may be undecided but still want to do a study abroad program if it's not aligned with their career goals yet because they're undecided? Mute it. Happens.
You could go as early as the second semester of your sophomore year. So, we ask students, not to study abroad their freshman year, but you can as early as your sophomore year. And then, decide. A lot of students decide to go abroad to countries that have always interested them, sometimes based on language, sometimes based on food, sometimes based on their own ethnic heritage. So it's really up to you. Of course, we like to see students decide what it is that they want to study and then choose a location, but that doesn't necessarily need to happen. A lot of times students study abroad, take classes because you can take general classes that will then come back as general electives. And then from there, they really find something that they're passionate about and that they enjoy studying while they're abroad. And then they come back to Hunter and they decide that that's going to be their major. We've even had students switch majors. They've taken a major when they're abroad and then they come back to Hunter and they've decided, that that's something that they want to pursue full-time at Hunter. So it really depends on what your interests are. I tell you, there's a program for everything and anywhere in the world. So you could go anywhere from Iceland to New Zealand to the jungles of Zambia and study oil-rich minerals. I mean, there really isn't anything out there that you can't do. So it's just, a matter of deciding, and that's where we help you do that. You can schedule advising appointments with us. You talk to former students about what their experience is like, and then we try to find something that will, meet your requirements and make you feel happy about going abroad.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Giovanna. I think that actually covers a lot of the questions. There is the final question that's, average cost of doing all these things. Mm-hmm. What would you say is the average for like a winter session or a summer session versus a semester-long program? And when you mentioned financial aid, students are asking, will financial aid cover everything or are there expenses that are expected by the students?
So typically financial aid doesn't cover things like flights. Those are usually on your own, but you can get scholarships that will help pay for those expenses. Housing is sometimes included, sometimes it's not. Summer programs can run anywhere between $1,500 to $2,500, depending where you're going and what's included in that. So tuition is usually paid separately, but things like housing, meals, outside excursions, field trips, those are usually all covered in the program expenses. Again, if you're receiving Hunter financial aid, that will transfer if it's a Hunter short-term program. Also keep in mind that deciding where it is you want to study abroad also impacts how much you're going to spend. So if you're going to be in a big city in Europe, for example, it's probably going to cost a little bit more than it would be if you choose to study someplace in South or Latin America, where, the dollar will go much further. So those are things to consider when you're thinking about where it is you want to go study.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I think that pretty much covers everything that we've received from students so far. If there are any questions that we didn't get to, I want to remind all of the students in the room that you can actually ask our students questions directly. If you go to the admissions page and click on a little box that says chat with students, you can literally find everybody you've met today on that page and then some. So we have some students who have done some phenomenal things, whether it's studying with dolphins, doing Japanese program, going to Taipei, China, or somewhere else. Ask them questions, ask them how their experience was, what type of students they met along the way, what type of classes they took while they were out there. This is your opportunity to get to see what their experience was like. We're hoping that fall 2021 semester brings this whole new wave to COVID where we're going to be back. Students are going to start doing travel abroad. We're hoping to welcome you to campus in person very, very soon. But in the meantime, definitely reach out to students and ask them. So a few housekeeping items before I let you go is one, again, if you want to talk to students, make sure you click on the chat with us button right on the admissions page. 2, if what you heard today is sort of solidifying your plans and you think Hunter is what you want to call home for their next 4 years, all you have to do is log into your CUNY first, accept our offer admission, and submit your deposit to reserve your seat in our fall class. All that is done in CUNY first. You don't have to reach out to anyone. It's super easy to do. But if you have any questions, we're always here to help. And don't forget that there's a whole bunch of other Hawk Talks coming up in the next month and a half or so. All you have to do is, again, go back to the admissions page and check out the schedule that we have available. If you're still unsure of what you want to study, but you know that you want to do a study abroad, check out the study abroad website, check out the Chinese Flagship website. All of that is also available on our website, and see what speaks to you. You never know, maybe you'll do a study abroad program and that's how you figure out what's going to be on your study agenda. Now, last item, if you study abroad, take me with you. Write that one down. I want to come to all of it, actually. Chinese Flagship, study abroad, or whatever it may be. Once again, congratulations on your fall 2021 admission. For the folks who just presented with me today, thank you everyone for dedicating the time to our fall 2021 Hawks. You guys have an awesome day. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.